All right, function composition. Function composition is when you take a function and plug it into another function. So everywhere where there's an x in the outside function, you are going to take the inside function and plug it into that x. You're going to see this written a couple different ways. One, it might just say, looks like fog, but it's f of g of x. And then you might see it written this way, where the g of x is actually plugged into the function f. So here we have a couple of functions. F of x equals x squared, and g of x is x minus 3. The first thing we need to do is find f of g of x, and also g of f of x. So to find f of g of x, what that says is we're to take g of x and plug it into f of x. So everywhere where there's an x in f of x, which is the x that we're squaring, we're going to replace that x with the function g, which is x minus 3. Okay, and then we're going to work that out so that we can have a function here. So we're going to have x minus 3 squared, which is going to be x minus 3 multiplied by itself, which would give us x squared minus 6x plus 9. That is f of g of x. The domain of that would be all real numbers because it is a polynomial. So that is f of g of x. Okay, and then we're going to find g of f of x. So g of f of x is to take the function g, and everywhere where there is an x in the function g, so we're doing that thing minus 3, we are going to plug in the function f, which is x squared. So that's simply just x squared minus 3. Again, it's a polynomial, so the domain is all real numbers, but g of f of x is equal to x squared minus 3. Then it asks us in part B to find f of g of 5 and g of f of 7. So if I want to find f of g of 5, well, I have the function f of g now. That just means I need to plug in 5 in for all my x's. So we'd have 5 squared minus 6 times 5 plus 9, so that's 25 minus 30, which would be negative 5, plus 9, which would give us 4. And then g of f of 7 would be 7 squared minus 3, which would be 49 minus 3, which would be 46. Before I move on, another way that you can do this if you are evaluating at a number, so the part B, another way you can do part B is you can simply just work from the inside out. So if I want to do g of 5 first, I could do that and just say, okay, well, g of 5 is 5 minus 3, which is 2. And then whatever you get from that, plug that into f. So since I got 2 from g of 5, I'm going to plug 2 into f, which would give me 2 squared, which would be 4. Same thing we got down here. G of f of 7, I could do f of 7 first. F of 7 would be 49, and then take that and plug it into g, 49 minus 3, which would be 46. Okay, so you can do that a little bit differently if you choose. All right, this time we have 3 functions, f of x, g of x, and h of x. First one, we are to find f of h of x. Okay, so f of h of x. That means I want to take h of x and plug it into the function f for everywhere that we have an x. So that means it needs to go on top where there's an x. So that's going to become x plus 3 on top. And on bottom we have x plus 3 plus 1, right? So I'm replacing this x right here with x plus 3, which would be x plus 3 plus 1, which means we would end up with x plus 3 over x plus 4. G of x is the next one. You can compose a function with itself. Okay, so we're just doing g of g. So I'm going to take the function g, and everywhere where there is an x, I'm going to replace it with the function g. So I'm plugging x to the 10th in for this x. So it's going to be x to the 10th, which would be x to the 100th. And then the last one gets a little bit tricky here. So we have f of g of h of x. So we are composing three functions here. And we're going to start with the inside. We're plugging h into g, and then we're plugging that in to f. Okay. So I'll just kind of do this a little bit at a time. So h into g, if I just did that part, okay, h into g would be x plus 3 to the power 10, right? That would be taking h and putting it into the function g. But then I'm supposed to take that thing and plug that into f. So for both of these x's and f, I need to plug in this x plus 3 to the 10th. So that means we're going to end up with x plus 3 to the 10th over x plus 3 to the 10th plus 1. And that would be my function f of g of h of x. So my recommendation there is just work from the inside out. I could give you like 10 of these functions composed together and always just start with the inside and keep plugging into the next function out until you get all the way to the outside function.